Even the credits are sexist. How do you fucking make credits sexist? How have they achieved doing that? They're not saying who it is, are they? They're not saying.
Let's go straight into the podcast.
They're not saying who's doing what.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the worst idea of all time live record edition. Episode 13. We'll just flick it down a little bit. We're joined. My name is Tim Batt.
My name's Guy Montgomery.
And we're joined by Tim FitzHigham, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
All the way from England.
Oh, yes. I'm so glad you brought me here for this.
Oh, well, it was a
halfway across the world to see this film.
Do you want to see the credits? Is this what you were waiting for?
I think we should name some of these people forever.
Oh, it's Steve Austin.
Really?
Oh, wait, we know him.
Should have.
If you look, see Dennis Dugan.
There's the gym teacher, Dan Patrick. We like the gym teacher, didn't we?
So now, you thought, Tim FitzHigham, international comedian, that Arnold Schwarzenegger's son features in this film.
He does Frat Boys.
He's there, look.
Oh,
there he is.
Patrick Schwarzenegger.
That I was right. Well, he's the guy. He's the one that doesn't get any lines.
Right.
Really.
Okay. Are we done with the credits now?
I think we're there. We just had to double check that
the movie's going off.
All right. Now, for those of you in the room who don't know the concept, if you came, what are you doing here? If you came here, you must know. Tim and I are watching Grown Ups 2 once a week for 52 weeks, and we're reviewing it immediately afterwards. After last week, we got in James Acaster, who
just looked shattered. You look genuinely shattered.
Man. I was sleeping. I was having a really good sleep this afternoon, and I woke up. And I was like, I was late. The reason this whole thing's running late is because I was sleeping. And I tell you, the worst reason to get out of bed is to come into the city so you can watch Grown Ups 2. And
for the how many times? This is the
13th.
13th time, Tim FitzHigham.
Was it lucky? Was it unlucky for you?
Listen.
Are they all unlucky?
Listen, I appreciate you coming on our podcast, but we'll be asking the questions,
okay.
buddy. I want to get your initial thoughts. What do you think of this film, this Hollywood film that we're watching 52 times?
It's very well lit, isn't it? It's there's definitely been a lot of money spent on the lighting. I think that.
Now, that sounds like an errant comment, maybe a slightly cheap comment, but it has been noted in previous episodes that the thing with this movie, the thing that'll get you, is that it has all the appearances of a good movie. It looks slick enough, it's shot well, as you say, it's lit well.
Yeah.
The sound mixing,
the stunts are very slick.
Relatively impressive.
Yeah.
Quite seamless.
Yeah.
And yet, terrible film.
I just like to gauge from the people in the room who's seen Grown Ups 2. Anybody? Both you two have?
Nice.
Why?
There's three.
Actually, this podcast now inspired me to watch it.
You watched it after we warned you not to watch the film. Because we say that every week.
Yeah, I know, but it enriches the listening experience to know what you guys are talking about.
I see.
If you can't hear on mic, the man said that it enriches the podcast experience by going through it.
It's already so rich. I don't know how you could handle any more.
Hang on a minute. This is reverse
Holy
marketing.
shit.
What you've achieved.
What the fuck is this?
We've got an audience, people.
What you have achieved here is that you have become a successful marketing tool for Grown Ups 2. That man would never have watched this film. He would never have had to spend, nearly 2 hours of his life.
Let me ask you a question. Did you pay money to see it? No. Thank God.
And how many episodes of the podcast did you listen to before you watched it?
I only discovered the podcast a few weeks ago, so maybe 6 or 7. Something like
and you're like, I just have to know.
Well, yeah, it makes it a lot easier to get through the podcast and listen to the podcast.
You could have just stopped listening to the podcast. You don't need to listen to the podcast. It's a dud, mate. The whole thing's shit.
No, listen. We're getting off track in record time. Let's keep this puppy on the tracks. Tim FitzHigham, our international comedian guest for this week.
By the way, if you're listening to the podcast, the men who created the podcast just said this podcast is a dud, which is not. It's reverse marketing. It's genius.
It's very
I don't know if anything that's happening right now is genius, Tim. It's really quite bleak.
So there's a little bit of admin. Do you want to should we do the admin first, or you want to do the admin later? You got any questions for Tim up front?
What I noticed immediately in watching it with you, Tim, is often, like when we had James in last week, he was sort of, I found it energizing to have someone else watching and experiencing them watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
You were really visibly, your body language was very depressed.
Yeah, it was painful.
The whole movie. It was like you were one of us. Like you'd watched it 12 times already. Like you weren't even like, oh, I wonder, I'm going to enjoy how shit this is. You were just like, what's going on
And
there?
I came in so positive as well. When I got out of bed, I was really positive about it. I thought this is going to be a great film. Watching it with you guys, we even had popcorn.
Yeah.
This was great. This was it all had the setup
Yeah.
of being exciting and great, and then it started.
I mean, what are you?
Some bits were painful.
What juts out at you, right? Just from memory off the top of your dome right now. At what moments were you just? Because you were doing this. You did the head and the hands.
I may have done that. Was that 5 minutes in?
Roughly.
Yeah,
I mean, can you remember specifically any moments which warranted that sort of
I may
reaction?
have hit that. I think it was in scene 1 when the deer, the moose, that was in the bedroom, and I thought that was a great setup. I thought that's brilliant. They're waking up, they're in love. This is fantastic, and there's a moose in the bedroom. That's really funny.
Quite a big start.
It's a big start. It is a big start. It's a big start. I thought this is obviously a good thing. This is going somewhere. It's got all the hallmarks. They've clearly borrowed it from Hangover, whatever it is with the tiger. It's it's that kind of a joke. And then the moose the deer is just there to wee on everyone.
Oh yeah.
And
And it's an early setup for the film, and that something will happen, and you think, right, this must mean something.
Yeah, it's going somewhere. It's great. It's good.
Nothing means anything in the film.
And then they managed to scare the moose with dirty laundry.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
I mean, but
It's one of the first things that made me wonder if things were going to make sense.
I also question whether a
it was
deer
like
could
an
go
early-
downstairs. With
I
their
do
knees.
wonder that too.
I wonder that.
You can't.
I'm not sure.
What you got to do, because when you're watching it, this is because I have this problem with Tim each week when you nitpick and you go, "This is ridiculous. How can this be in the movie?" But if you extrapolate across you can say that about everything. We want to make an edit where we take out all the superfluous bits, and you probably get like a trailer.
Yeah,
Mate,
yeah.
if you're lucky.
I'm going to break it to you, Tim. I'm not sure that was a real deer.
Are you
there were
questioning the
elements-
veracity of
I
that
think
mighty
elements
beast?
of that deer were CGI.
Well, I
Someone
think you're a
spent
liar.
money CGIing a deer.
It's the incredible thing, Tim.
For that
because,
gag.
Like, and this is why
How much money does it cost to CGI a deer? It seems like
A
someone here must work at Weta. We're in New Zealand, so someone must know how much money you'd have to spend to get that deer on its. Deer can't go on their hind legs? Can deer go on their hind legs?
I
mean,
don't
hind
know.
legs clearly a
But
very
see-
good gag, but the point is okay, not for everyone. But my point is that it doesn't look plausible, and the deer's.
No, but this is what I'm talking
And
about.
how much wee is there in a deer?
Oh, and
That
how does
deer-
it
enough to
stop and
piss on-
start the weeing so much?
I know.
enough to piss on a family.
But I mean, this is the thing though, is that you get so obsessed with with speculating over this detail, this shitty
yeah,
little detail in the
yeah.
film. You can do that to every single moment,
To see,
right
yeah,
the way
every
through.
We've now been
yeah.
talking for 5 minutes
Yeah.
about the deer. The deer is the first 30-second gag of the film, of an hour, 40-minute film.
But then, as it turns out, a vitally important
Well,
character.
it bookends the
Wow.
whole thing, doesn't it?
You
the,
think
the
that?
whole thing.
Listen,
You go.
if I may, Tim, we introduced a new segment with James Acaster,
Yeah.
which I would love to get you to do, and that is, look, you're an international performer, you're a fabulous comedian, you can
Don't build it up.
improvise. Here's the bit.
Yeah.
Guy Montgomery and myself as studio executives.
Yeah.
And you've got to pitch this movie to us to get it made.
And preface it with your preface that you do.
Guess what, mate? Tough times. The global financial crisis has hit us hard. Piracy's on the rise. We're struggling to really find a profitable gold film that's going to just put us head and shoulders above the rest. We need
Yeah.
critical acclaim. We need fantastic box office performance. What's your idea, Tim FitzHigham?
Okay. So firstly, thank you for seeing me at such short notice. I know how busy you must be with your studios. You know how Heineken. You know how Heineken doesn't really taste like anything, and is kind of quite a bland lager
It's my favourite beer. I'm
with
glad
no
you brought it up.
real ups and downs and highs, and it's just and you can literally sell it anywhere in the world, and people will buy it.
Oh yeah.
I've got an idea that if you could take Heineken and make it into a movie, that's what I'm pitching to you. That's what I'm saying.
Heineken, the movie.
The bones of your proposal are really exciting to us here, Tim. But I mean, what I'm wondering is how.
Oh, and it includes a weeing deer.
Well, look, I'm on board. I'll sign the check right
I'm
now.
not gonna lie, that's a sweetener. You got your gun ho with the pen.
See, this
there.
is guy. It's good cop, bad cop. I'm on board already.
what I'm wondering is how are you going to transfer those qualities of Heineken, the beer, and all of the great market value it's obviously built up over the years? How are you going to do that in a new movie?
Well, just like Heineken, I'm going to take all the right ingredients and somehow mess it up. That's what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to take all the great cast members that they appear to have somehow, and I think it's got to be blackmailed in some cases, have got into
So
this.
you're telling me you're going to blackmail celebrities
Yes.
into making the Heineken equivalent of movies?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I'm on board.
Okay, and that's how this gets made.
I know, right?
Amazing. Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
what can we go into some plot points that you think will be a selling point for
Yes,
this film?
I think definitely a drugged bus driver for a children's bus. I think that's a winner. I think if you could take, it's like they've taken comedy and thought it wasn't good enough, and so had to put something else on top of comedy.
Do you mean the gag they've thought of, or comedy as a concept?
As a concept, as an entire concept.
Right.
So in there are moments where you go, please stop now. That's a great gag. Don't do anything. Don't do that.
Yeah, you're right, because
Don't do
there's
that,
some
don't do that.
accidentally hilarious moments in the
Yeah.
film.
And this is
Well, there's
actually
bound to be. You've got some of the best performers in the world in a film. Well, some of the best performers in the world in a film. There's bound to be some bits of gold in there because those people are funny people.
They slip through the net.
this quite
It does seem like they have.
This quite naturally leads into the top three, which
Yeah.
is another new feature where we sort of pick out a list of top 3 moments in the film. So
Yeah.
last week it was the top 3 physical gags. Was it?
Stunts.
Stunts.
Best stunts.
Now this week what we wanted from you, Tim, are your top 3 belly laughs. Because
Yeah.
I saw a few creeped out of your bloody gullet there, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no, that's definitely true. I really
go
like.
in descending order.
Wow, I haven't really ordered them. I haven't really.
Make it
I
up. It
haven't
doesn't
really
matter.
I haven't really thought them through in that the linear way. I liked the PE teacher. It just made me laugh when he went, "Anyone want to see me climb a rope?"
Who wants to watch
wants
me
to watch
climb a rope?
There you go.
I don't know if you guys have seen the movie. That's dead on. That's exactly how he sounds.
It's I like that, but then they had to mess it up with a wacky camera angle.
Yeah.
So it's like so that was half a belly laugh. I've got to knock half off for the wacky camera angle. And then who's the guy with the son who is
Bumpty.
special?
Kevin James.
Kevin James.
Yeah.
Kevin James, when he said when his son's eating ice cream, and he just doesn't even look at him and goes, "That's butter, son."
Yeah.
That's a funny laugh. That's a funny line.
And we can say this because we know the script off by heart now.
Yeah.
Bean says, "This is the best vanilla pudding I've ever
Vanilla
tasted."
pudding. Okay.
And Kevin James says, "That's not pudding, that's butter, son."
Yeah.
Did you not? Because I've watched that.
A lot.
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah.
Did you not think that was irresponsible parenting by Kevin James? Do you not think you shouldn't have your 5-year-old boy just hoeing into a tub of butter?
Look, I'll be honest, a lot of this film is not sending out very good messages. I mean, the fact they force feed alcohol to a dog
I'm glad you noticed
isn't
that.
great. You know, there's a lot of bad messages there.
You can easily skip over that shot, and I think I did on my first couple watches. But yeah,
Because your mind can't believe what it's seeing.
it's
like,
cognitive dissonance.
It's actually a callback, that, because the lady who's doing the beer bong to the dog,
Yeah.
because they just needlessly introduce people and bring them back to try and lend some sense of
Callbacks.
I don't know. But she was the mum at Kmart yelling at her kids on the way into Kmart.
Oh, right.
What's
Yeah.
the 4 kids?
Oh, I didn't get
There
that.
you go. No, I mean,
No,
you,
I
didn't either,
and you
mate.
wouldn't have.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
honestly, it was about 6 or 7 in when before I'm like
Yeah.
fucking viewing it on a different plane, bro.
You are, yeah. No, you really are now. This
Okay.
it's really true.
Yeah, so we've got 1.5 belly laughs.
And then the third one came almost immediately after that scene, where they said that the costume party would be 1980s themed costume party, and the genius son kind of goes, "Wow, the 80s, that's 70 years ago." and then Kevin James just drops his fork, and that's funny.
No, fuck it.
That's
Guy,
really
you look
funny.
incredulous, but I'm with you on that.
That
'cause
made me laugh.
The kid,
Actually, so what made me laugh most in this movie was silence. That's what I'm saying.
I appreciate the end point there, but that's not funny, man.
here's a fun fact about
It's the way the kid's going, hey, and then he's going, dunk. There's
Bang.
something about dropping cutlery that's funny. I don't
Kevin.
know.
Kevin James's son in this film was actually played by two boys who are twins, identical twins,
Oh,
similar to the
wow.
Olsen twins.
Yeah,
Full
because
House.
that means they can do it cheaper.
Yeah, exactly, and
yeah,
they
yeah.
can kind of skirt around labour laws because they're kids.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Allegedly.
But
Do
me,
you have
like,
those laws here?
I
don't know.
floated to Guy recently that we should try and get to a point where we can distinguish which kid is which and which scene.
Oh, that's good.
Try and pick out the twins.
Well, actually, I think they have got slightly. Now you say it, I did notice they do have slightly different teeth.
Oh,
So I think you can. I think you really could nail
Are
that.
you fucking with us?
No, I think
Are you just going to make us look at
nail
this
that.
kid's teeth for the next 40 weeks?
we got to
I'm
pay
just
attention
saying,
to something.
I reckon
The
you know
film's
the
not holding
teeth
me.
could be the thing that might give it away.
Okay, well, I mean, that's technically, it's 2.5 belly laughs, but we'll round it up. Swedish rounding and whatnot. I mean, you also, you during the movie, you had some sort of epiphany where it occurred to you that this follows some sort of traditional British filmmaking framework.
Well, no, I think it's. There was a thing in Britain called the Carry On films, and they were brilliant to start with. They are amazing films. Like some of the first Carry On films are some of the best films ever made.
What is a carry-on film?
They were all called Carry On something. So it was like Carry On Up the Khyber, Carry On the buses, and as in a carry-on, as in a right proper carry-on, as in a hilarious situation that spins out of control
Okay, yeah.
and weaves itself into a conveniently length film. A sort of, not quite a farce, but it was very postcard kind of cartoony style humour, and it had like the cast list was stellar. Like I mean, everybody that we knew and loved from the kind of immediately post-war comedy period was in those films. People like Kenneth Williams, I think. Sergeant Bilko was in one. Phil Silvers was in one.
I know all these people.
Kenneth Conn. Yeah, exactly. Okay. But it was a huge cast list.
Yeah.
And yet, some of the later films were not great.
Grown-ups Tuesian.
They were. And I think that's the thing. They've clearly got here. I mean, you have to say Adam. What's his name? Sandler.
Adam Sandler, yeah.
Sandler's better.
Is a bit of he's a genius because what he's worked out is essentially a way of spending time with what are clearly his mates.
Yeah.
And being paid an enormous amount of money.
Correct.
To basically just sit round and it's almost like he's come up with a Saturday Night Live pension scheme. and that's it. That's what it is.
That's amazing. What is incredible is that James Acaster last week had exactly the same takeaway.
Right.
He's like, because we're going, this is terrible. I mean, do you think they're having fun on set? And he's going, fucking A, they're having fun on set.
Yeah.
They're making a shit product they don't care about. They're just hanging out with their mates, getting paid heaps of cash.
Absolutely. And I think also you can tell that because some of the lines they don't even say them properly, so you can't actually even. I'm straining and going, what was that line? What did he actually say? And the guy's going,
And the director, Dennis Dugan, who we know as the doctor in the hospital scene, is going, we need to take that again. And Chris Rock's going, fuck that. I am not here to do retakes. I'm here to get paid and leave.
And actually, the doctor's actually quite a good actor.
I thought he was
because
he's pretty good.
He's actually playing it, straight.
Now, Tim Batt, I'd just like to check in with you. Obviously it's a different vibe this week. We watched it on a computer, in a room, and there's an audience for the podcast. I mean, where are you at? What's your mental state? How are you feeling about the whole shebang?
Horrible, really bad. I thought that and it's been how many days since we did the last one? 8 or 9.
Yeah, it's been a few.
Did you miss it?
Well, generally speaking, Tim, what happens is that if we do it outside of the 7-day regular rotate, I have a new zest for the film. That did not come through today at all. And I wasn't reinvigorated by a guest or the live audience, which thank you very much, all of you, for coming, but you've done me no good. I feel depressed, I feel nervous again, I feel very worried about the rest of the watchers. We've got 40 to go.
But do you think you're going to have to just keep upping the stakes? Are you essentially going to have to watch the film by the end just to get through it? Are you going to have to do that ascent from the Sky Tower? while you're watching the film, just to kind of spice it up a bit and get some kind of.
Well, some ideas have been postulated around certain chemical enhancements of the watchers of the films, which I don't think we'll ever. Maybe some of the fun of the podcast will be we'll never explicitly say what we're on, but it's up to you to guess what we've done before we've watched it this week.
Well, I do think we generally occasionally are approaching a level of delirium where it will be very difficult to tell if we are on drugs or it's a weird little 3-hour mental bubble that we do go into each week. Where you're not really engaging with the real world or society at large, and I mean it's really nice to have people like you come in, Tim, and dip your toe in the Grown Ups 2 pool,
Break
so
up
to
the
speak.
painless, painful monotony.
Yeah, I mean the material is essential. It's fat children. That seems to be a big inspiration for a lot of the gags. And
But of the jokes, I think would be a more fair.
Yeah, but
Push-up bras.
Yeah, push-up bras appear to be a big theme.
A motif.
And people with bald heads. So it's just like those are the three go-to. It's like, hang on a minute, have we done a joke about one of these three, or vomit, or wee, as a side thing? In the last 5, no, we've got to get one in. That's the bottom line. Have we not done enough of those? It's kind of a weird go-to thing, isn't it?
Well, it's a weird. The tone of the movie is weird because it's not pitched at adults. It's not pitched at who do you think who are they making this movie for?
I think this movie, and I was thinking about this as I was watching it. I think this movie is actually intended to be a family movie. I think this is a movie that is intended for parents to be able to take their kids to, and for both of them to laugh. So I think that's the intention.
Well, they
that's
missed.
the only way that I can. They've missed on both targets.
Yeah.
They have attempted to shoot down the middle, and you two guys would be the middle, and not even you're laughing. So they've missed 2 targets, not even hit the thing in the middle.
If you're aiming for the bullseye, Monty's on one side, I'm on the other of the peripheral of the bullseye target, and the arrow has gone sideways.
Yeah. I wonder actually if the whole success of this movie is that there are a lot more of these podcasts out there, and basically a whole 52 million people are making a podcast about Grown Ups 2, and that's how it's getting the viewing figures.
I mean, do you, as a concept for a podcast, where do you see this going for us? Because you get to, when you're watching it with us, you can see our body language, you can see how we're acting.
Oh, I see it going into meds. I see it, hardcore doctors being involved in this by the end. I can see we're only on you're on 13, and you've got to get to 52. That's
39 to go.
Exactly.
Not that anyone's counting.
As a joke in the film would be, that's only 70 to go.
He's got the format.
That's the kind. It's. I mean, I just see it going by the end. Is going to be a real. It's going to be a tearjerker.
Monty, let me ask you directly. How's your mental well-being and fitness at this juncture?
I mean, I'm usually pretty upbeat. It's just quite a mean-spirited laugh.
It's just they can't see your eyes on the podcast. I'm just going to describe the dishevelled man sitting next to me going, I'm usually quite upbeat. And I want you all to imagine a man who, if he was slumped, lying down next to a bottle shop, would not look out of place. That's how upbeat and,
How upbeat are those guys, though? They're fucking getting it done. Look.
Upbeat, lying down.
I said sort of with... At the start, I said with 39 to go. There's 39 more to go. And that was sort of to be like, only 39 to go. But that number's so much bigger than the number of times we've watched it.
You've done a Tim.
I've done a Tim bat as I've gone, because I was like, you've got these benchmarks. You get through 10 or 11 and you go, well, we're a fifth of the way there. And that's how I was looking at it. I was like, a fifth of the way there, that's so far along. But that means that we've got 4/5 of it to go.
Correct, yeah.
That is a much bigger number, Tim.
It is. 4 times, in fact, if you do the math.
And, I mean...
Also, how many hours of your life are you going to spend on that?
Oh, this is an interesting statistic,
well,
isn't it?
3 times 52, pretty much, is the situation.
Why? Oh, because
it's 3 hours, it's an hour 40 plus the podcast, and then you have to, I get to just walk out after we record. Tim has to go home and,
slap it up on it.
Do all this stuff with a computer that I don't know how to do.
Somewhere.
Nice. I think there's one. It was difficult. Where's the heart of this film? That you guys have seen it loads.
Oh, I can tell you.
Okay.
Because I know what you mean by that, which
Yeah.
is kind of the spiritual heart of it. But there's a specific moment in the film where there is there's two. When Chris Rock is talking to his son,
Right.
saying, "Don't go and kill yourself because you're precious cargo," before he takes his driver's.
If you kill
Yes.
yourself, I'll have to kill you.
Yeah.
There was a joke in the movie I had for the first time today.
Which is unbelievable at this stage.
Yeah.
Fuck, what is the other one?
Well, I don't even know why that is
'cause
part
I
of the
wondered
heart
if-
of the movie. I don't know what the fuck you're
I
talking
know
about.
what it is. It's Higgins. It's where Higgins is talking to his son and trying to rekindle some sort of relationship, and it's a
That's
genuine
nice.
moment of heart.
But then the third one I'd argue is
Monty's
There you
taking
go.
the shit.
You,
But no, I just wonder, is it the kicker when the little kid? So all three parent-child relationships.
I don't count
have a
that
moment.
one.
It's not.
Well, it's right. It is right because in one moment you get behind the kid being the kicker, he squashes him.
There's
So-
no. What I'm. There's no heart. That's not a heart of the film, Tim. That's just where they try and, as an attempt at emotional resonance. That's not the heart.
But I think they
To lend-
almost pull it off.
No.
So
Almost.
it's
no-
more, it's
there's
more like
twice.
3 attempts at cynical emotional blackmail.
Yes.
Is that what you're?
That is a
Absolutely.
completely correct.
There's no
description.
purpose. There's nothing redeeming. It's just a series of failed jokes. And when one joke fails for long enough, they just do a hard cut to another setup for another failed joke, and it goes on. And occasionally they'll reference one of the failed jokes from before, and just keeps going until an hour and 41 minutes of your life's gone away.
Okay.
And Adam Sandler does a burp snort
All
before
right.
he's gonna fuck his pregnant wife.
Let me stop
and
you
it's
there,
just
Monty. Let's pull this aeroplane up. Let's grab the wheel. Let's grab the old sticks and pull it up because it's time. It's time for the patented worst idea of all time,
Actually,
shining light.
Just in fairness, they don't always hard cut on the jokes. There's that one that doesn't go.
Cross
There's
dissolve.
definitely
are.
one that goes nowhere at all, and they
They-
just cross dissolve it.
yeah.
In a desperate bid to like go,
it's
that's
Steve-
just the editor going,
The maniacal laughter of Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, that's
cross dissolves into
that's
another
it.
scene because they're
That's
like,
it.
well, there's nothing
Just
here.
going,
so-
hey.
That is
hey.
one of the fun ways to watch the film, is imagining the editor and the booth
Yeah.
going, what? I mean, come on,
So-
guys.
Is this have I got all the reels? I thought isn't this the dailies? I thought, is this
this-
the whole
this-
film?
Are these all the
You're
alternate
joking.
takes?
The editing,
God.
again, the editing is brilliant.
Yeah.
Just like the lighting, brilliant.
Yeah, and
brilliant. And there's that one moment where the little daughter's
Well,
meant
hold
to
that
cry.
thought. Hold that thought for one moment.
Okay.
Tim, because I want to preface this with the shining light. So this is the part of the podcast where we say a genuine moment of the film where we enjoyed. I should have said that.
Well, I
Thusly,
just want
a
to
part of the movie which we genuinely enjoyed.
before I'm sure I will try, but
I'm sure I'll try.
There's the moment. The reason I think the editing is so good. I don't know if you noticed when the girl is meant to cry because she's lost her.
Mr. Gigglesworth?
the monkey
Yes.
to the deer. This doesn't make sense even when I'm saying it. When she's meant to cry, she clearly can't cry as an actress.
Hey.
And there's a quick cut.
Hands
have you
off
noticed
Becky
that?
Fader,
Have
mate.
you noticed it?
She
She goes
is
like this. She
a
genuinely
tour de
goes.
force
She
in
goes,
this film.
and then they cut immediately. They literally go. It clearly doesn't pan out for her in the crying stage.
I can't believe you because I think she's probably the finest actor in the film.
Exactly. That's my point. There we go. You've hit it on the head.
Okay, so now
The shining light.
The shining light. The shining light.
The shining.
Who wants to go first?
I wrote it down, but I've sweated it off, and now I can't remember what it was.
The shining light.
Shit, what does it say? I
Um,
wrote it on my hand. I shouldn't have done that.
it's
My shining light, it wasn't really to do with the movie, it just changed the viewing, was finding out that Arnold Schwarzenegger's son plays one of the frat boys.
Yeah.
And is like one of
Yeah.
the worst actors in
Yeah.
the world.
I mean, it'd be interesting to research and see, did he go to a frat, whatever that is? And if so, is he essentially just being asked to play himself and is clearly unable to do that? That would be what I'd like to
Was he
I'd
the
like to know that.
progeny of Schwarzenegger with the
Maria
house?
Shriver.
Yeah, is that?
No, it's not the maid. It's
Not the
it's
maid.
the actual wife.
Oh,
You think
Okay.
No, this
Schwarzenegger
is-
would give his love child his very distinguishable surname?
Yes, A
That's
and B.
like Higgins, though. It's like he's trying to make it up to him.
Publicise him in a film. That seems a
Yeah.
bit tactless to his wife. I mean, no longer. Maybe I don't know. Are they? Who can say?
This thing's going off the rails. Shining light for you, Tim.
Shining light.
Struggling.
Shining light.
He's struggling.
Oh, I know. I've got it. It was that moment where the policeman does like a Starsky and Hutch jump across the bonnet of the car and caves the bonnet of the car.
Oh yeah.
I really like that.
That's got to be one of your belly
I
laughs.
really
You were
like
losing
that. I really
it.
like that. That was funny. That's funny. That made me laugh.
Shaq genuinely destroying the bonnet
Yeah.
of the car.
But the thing with that, the problem they've got with that policeman character, who is, I think he's got some of the best moments, is that all of the jokes that he does have been done in Police Academy by Hightower. It's the same jokes. It's exactly the same
But
jokes.
at the end of that,
Big tall
Shaq-
policeman, same thing.
Tim, your shining light, please.
Oh God, I've been trying to
Come
think
on,
of
just
one.
figure out what's on your hand.
Oh, I can't. That's illegible. I can't read out that at all.
Awkward?
Yeah, is that what this
Did you
is?
say awkward?
Well, that word's just.
Just?
This is
And I
a,
think
this is a
that's
good
dead.
listening experience, this part.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with.
I quite like the bit where they break and the bus driver smashes into the back of the bus.
They killed Nick.
It's like,
They've killed
That's
him,
quite
man.
funny. No, they haven't killed him. I mean,
They
just,
have definitely
he's just
broken his neck
heavily,
and killed him.
what I'm
he's
noticing
heavily medicated.
in all of your moments, it's a physical moment that doesn't involve dialogue, almost exclusively.
Yeah, no, as I said to you, the silence is the best bit in this film. I'm going to stand by that.
My shining light today is part of that monstrous scene that takes place inside of a Kmart where, and actually you
There's
took
a
me-
lot of Kmart, by the
Oh
way.
my goodness, is there what?
Kmart-
We have delved into
yeah,
this
we've
in
covered
previous
that quite a lot.
episodes.
They definitely
Okay.
paid for a bit of the movie.
Which I think you actually initially brought up a couple episodes ago, Monty, where Adam Sandler comes up to Higgins and says,
Hey, Crocodile Dundee, how'd it go with the kid?
that's the line. That is the fucking line. You know it. And it's a fine and brief and rare moment of talented acting by Adam Sandler in this film.
There's a gem buried amongst the other stuff.
Because there's an entire bit where he goes, Kmart, 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 Kmart,
Yeah.
Kmart, Kmart.
They get paid by the mention.
It's like, I don't know if we said this in the previous podcast, but it's like how Shortland Street has to use a certain amount of te reo Māori to get funding from New Zealand on Air.
Is that right?
correct,
I
or
think-
is that you being?
I think that's right. And I think that Grown Ups 2 had to mention Kmart a certain amount of times to
same sort of thing. Very
get
similar.
their
It's
budget.
appalling.
How are we going for time?
No, it's done. We're done.
The only
here.
thing I
We're
could
done.
think of, the only thing I wanted to finish by saying, or not finish, but the one thing I did want to say is that at the end, where there's that massive fight scene going on and the band just carry on playing,
The J Giles band. Yes.
they carry on playing.
Chris Rock's daughter singing.
The only thing I could think of was, this is like being on the Titanic. This is how they must have felt as they saw the iceberg hoving into view.
Yes.
And like the people were playing, and I felt like the three of us were on the deck of the Titanic, hurtling towards the end of something terrible. And that was my only sort of feeling about
What
that.
a journey.
What a fitting metaphor to wrap up the episode. That's Tim. Thank you so much.
Well, they
Tim
finished-
FitzHigham, ladies and gentlemen. Bloody brilliant.
So much more.
Don't
So-
clap into the mic.
I'll
Because that's going to peak it out. You
Yeah,
don't have
look
to
at it.
deal
You
with
can
those
see the
problems.
sound waves there. I've really
Exactly.
fucked that up. Guys, thank you very much for listening. As always, unless you're off your bloody chops, don't watch the film.
Don't watch the movie.
Follow us on Facebook at The Worst Idea of All Time. We'll be back next week for our 14th viewing. The end.
That's us. Tim, you want to say anything while you're here?
Yeah, I quite like the bit where
Please.
where the hormonal woman threw the beer keg in the guy's head. That's quite funny.
Very good. And on that note, thank you for listening. Catch you next week. This has been a live record of The Worst Idea of All Time. Thank you. Good night.
Everybody!